Let me tell you about the time when I closed 3 deals with the same client in the same year. All right, so the first deal, 2021, COVID-19. Everybody know about the bidding wars that was going on, so it was hard to find a home for my client, but I did anyway. It wasn't a perfect home. It wasn't a turnkey property. It needed some work. This particular home, the dog ate through some of the carpet downstairs and upstairs. Not only that, the bathroom downstairs flooded. So we walked through this home, really nice layout, upstairs, downstairs home. This home had to been about 2,300 square foot, really nice neighborhood. I mean, it was all good except for just cosmetics. It needed some paint too. But my client was renting at the time and he was at the end of his lease. And so he had to decide whether he wanted to renew that lease for a year or buy a home. And he told me that if I could find him a property and the numbers worked, that he would purchase the property. So this I did. I did my research on the property. I found out the seller was motivated. The seller had to move out of town for a job, something along those lines, but the seller was motivated. Then you had the bathroom and the cosmetic situation. So we ended up getting that house for about $25,000 less than what the asking price was. Made an offer, got the offer accepted, it worked out. Closed on that property. That's the first one. A year later, my client calls me back and says, Fernando, I found a property that I really wanted. Because that first property really wasn't the property that he was looking for, but he settled on that property because it was better than going back to renting where he was. So he found the property that he really wanted. It was like a waterfront, like the layout was perfect. It was exactly everything he wanted. And he probably was looking for that property for like the next 10 months after he purchased the first one. So it was like 10 months after he purchased the first one when he called me. And at the time, I remember I was kind of in a drought. I didn't have a client for a while, and I was already contemplating, like, man, should I even be doing real estate? Like, do I want to be a realtor or whatever the case? And then he called me. I saw his name. I remember looking at my phone and seeing his name, and I'm like, should I even answer this? And I answered anyway. And we talked. We caught back up with each other, and he's like, Fernando, I see the house that I want. I want to go see it. So as we got finished catching up with each other, I set up the appointment, went to go do the showing, and he just fell in love with this house. It had the waterfront, everything that he wanted the first time. The price was right, everything was all good. But he still had his current house to deal with. So I asked him, what did he want to do with that house? Was he planning to become a landlord and rent it out? Or did he want to sell it? Or whatever the case may be. Like, he was so motivated to buy this other house. Like, he was like, if I can't sell this house, I'll rent it out. So I was like, okay, well, give me 2 months. Let me list this property for 2 months and see if we can get it sold. And he was like, okay. He didn't really think it would sell, or at least for the price, the asking price, but he was willing to give it a try. So I told him to give me 2 months. So we did a listing agreement and everything. And he was already under contract for the new house. And then about 3 weeks later, I got a call from a guy. And this guy was interested in this house. And the house was the current house that my client was still living in, still owning. And he wanted to see it. So I did a showing with him and his wife. And when I showed them that property, I knew for sure that they wanted that property and that they was going to make an offer. I knew right off the bat. And I knew because of the wife. I mean, she fell in love with this house. And my client, those 10 months that he was in that house, like he pulled up the carpet, put new carpet in there. Like he painted the walls. I mean, like the house was like a brand new house. And it was really nice. And the lady, I mean, she fell in love with the house. So I knew when I saw her fall in love with the house, I already knew that the house was sold. So after I got done showing them the property, I called my client. I said, this house is about to get sold. I said, I'm about to sell this house for you, man. These people, they seem very motivated. The end of that day, I get a call from the couple. The guy was like, I want to make an offer. He made an offer on the property, and like he was willing to pay asking price, no seller's concessions. So my client didn't have to pay his closing or anything. Like, he didn't ask for anything. He just wanted the house. And I mean, it was like the perfect situation. So at this point in time, we're already about a week out from closing on the new house that my client wanted to purchase, and it takes about 30 days to close on the property. So that means about a whole month before we close on the first home that my client purchased. So it worked out, because if you know anything about mortgages, when you close on a property, you don't have to pay the mortgage until about 2 months later, depending on what day you close. My client, all he wanted to do with the first property was break even. He did put some money into it. He was like, if I can get my money back and break even and just dump this house and move into the one that I really want, I'll be satisfied. So with my commission, with the money he put into the property, closing costs and everything, he broke even on the property. I think he even got a check at the closing table. Like, it worked out perfect. It was the perfect deal. And so I got commission off of the first house I sold him. I got commission off of selling that house for him, and I got commission off of representing him on that last house that he purchased. Just from building a relationship with that client, I made about $25,000 from those 3 deals. Perfect deal. I mean, that's what happens when you build rapport with a person. The first thing they think about when they want to purchase a property is you. And so I'm still in contact with that client right now, and I even consider that client a friend.